Today, I'm going to share with you 3 different ways in which you should be incorporating easy runs within your week of training. Now, easy runs sounds super simple, right? You just get out the door, you log your mileage, you take it nice and easy, you check that box and get it done. And you would be absolutely correct. And yet, I find that this is one of the most common ways or most common places in training where runners tend to lose the plot. They either overdo it, they underdo it, or they turn something simple into something that becomes way too complex, or often something that becomes a stress when it should not be doing that. So today I'm going to break down 3 different types of easy runs that I use every single week to build fitness, to recover, and to keep my training focused on what actually matters. My name is Dylan Bellis. I've coached over 1,000 runners over the last decade. I'm a 216 marathoner, and I'm just a normal guy who works hard. This channel is here to help you train smarter and to help you perform at your best. Now let's talk about easy days. I said easy running is meant to be simple, and I want to stress that it absolutely should be. In my own training, easy runs, they have a natural rhythm. I'm not chasing a pace necessarily. I'm not obsessing over things like heart rate. I'm not trying to force or control anything. I'm simply just listening to my body. If I had a hard workout yesterday, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to back off. I'm just going to take it nice and light and get out the door, not worry about anything other than recovering from that day. If I've got more space in between my sessions and I'm feeling fresh, I might actually run a little quicker at the same relative effort. And if my volume is particularly high, often my pace will slow. And if my volume is slower, then my pace might actually drift up. And that's completely normal. The key is that I want you to apply structure to your easy runs, but I don't want you to overcomplicate them. And over time, you will find that you can develop your own rhythm, and that's our goal. All right, so let's break down the 3 types of easy runs. First is your everyday easy run. Now, this is the bread and butter of our easy days. It's just a normal run. There's nothing really too special about it. And effort wise, this tends to fall between a 3 and a 4 out of 10. I like to see it as a 3, as when I start talking about 4, I start thinking more moderate. But for most of us, it's a 3 out of 4 of a 10. It takes some effort, but overall, it's fully conversational. You feel like you could go forever. You don't feel like there's any point in time where, hey, I got to slow this thing down, or I'm running out of time here because my body is getting overly fatigued. And if you're someone who likes to use something like heart rate, particularly if you're using something like an armband or a chest strap, you don't really want to rely on the watch, at least at this moment in time, because there's a lot of different variables that go into the readings there. And honestly, they're just not quite accurate. But if you are someone that uses heart rate, you might want to fall in the middle band of what you would consider easy. Now, in this episode, I'm not here to do a calculation on your heart rate zones. We're not here to talk about that today. But if you are someone who does use that, this tends to fall right in the middle of that easy zone. It's a great sweet spot for you to focus on. So these runs, they're done when you're not deeply fatigued. So typically you wouldn't run this after a really hard workout or a really hard long run, but you might splice it in your week, between some of those other sessions that aren't overly fatiguing. Like for example, if you did a hard tempo or you went out and did a big marathon pace long run, that day that follows, it usually is not going to be in this level of effort because you're going to want to take it a little easier. We're going to talk about that pace next. So this is just your everyday normal run where you're not impacted by anything that is a huge stress to your system. It's a good run where energy stays relatively steady, and it's the backbone of your week. And it's the most reliable thing that you can do. Next is what we like to call your recovery run. Some people like to call it active recovery. Some people like to call it shakeouts. There's a lot of different terms for it, but me, I like to call it recovery. And what this run does, the sole purpose of this run is to help you recover from those more stressful runs of the week. So if you had a really hard workout, this is a great run to do the day afterwards, where you're not looking to necessarily forward your aerobic fitness. You're looking to just get the body moving, to get some blood flow, to help add some space between that hard session you did and then the next one that you have coming up. This run also fits really nicely after a long run because you spend a lot of time on feet. Sometimes it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, who knows how long it is. If you're in the marathon block, you're likely doing really hard, intensive runs. That next day, if it's not a recovery day from a you don't run at all, it's a great time to throw in just an easy recovery run. For me, this tends to be my slowest run of the week. My goal is I'm just going to get up in the morning, take it nice and easy, maybe throw a podcast on and just jog it out. I like to just think of it as a relaxing run. We're not looking to hit a certain pace. And if you are someone who uses heart rate, this usually ends up being on the lower end of that. And that's where I want you to aim for. And the last thing I really wanted to touch on here is that recovery run. We're talking about maybe some pace, we're talking about maybe some heart rate. The most important piece that you can take away from this part of our easy run range is that it's a mindset. The pace might actually be reflective or might be similar to your normal everyday easy run. It could possibly be that. There's no knowing how you're going to feel coming off of a run during any run during the week, but there's a mindset associated with it. So if you go into these run thinking, I'm going to take it easy, I'm going to actively recover my body from that harder session, then you are checking the box. Sometimes you feel better than others, and the pace might reflect that. But as long as you head out the door and you're not thinking to yourself, I need to run X pace, I need to run X heart rate, it's about how you're feeling and what's the purpose of that run. And it's to help you recover from those more intensive days. So that is our recovery run. You might also have this effort, these paces associated with your warm-ups and cool downs as well. Warm-ups and cool downs can also fit along in the same range as your everyday easy run. But for me, I like to make sure that my warm-ups are purposeful in the sense that, hey, I'm not looking to run a certain pace. Again, I keep stressing that we're not looking for a particular pace here. I'm just trying to get my body up to speed to shake it out so that I can be ready to run fast. And on the flip side of that, you have your cool downs where you're just trying to get some volume, trying to shake out that hard run that you just did. And that I like to just make it nice and easy. So my warm-ups and cool downs also tend to be in line with some of my slowest parts of my runs during the week. And I think that yours should too. Lastly, we have the steady or the moderate run. Now, this is going to be on the higher end of what we call easy. This is going to be a 4, possibly even a 5 out of 10 in some cases. These are still controlled efforts. They're still conversational, but you do feel as though you are more engaged. These often show up sometime in the middle of the week, especially if you're not someone who does 2 quality sessions a week, or you're maybe more focused more on volume this time around and not on quality. I like to throw in these steady runs as like a medium long run in the middle of the week. So for me, a medium long run can be anywhere from like 12 to 16 miles at some points in my training. And I'd like to really get after some of these days. I feel better if I don't have a run. This might be on like a Wednesday or Thursday. And if I didn't have anything intensive on a Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll have this medium long run in the week where it tends to be faster than my everyday easy runs. It's faster than my recovery runs. And I just get into pace, I click it off. And that heart rate zone that we talked about tends to be on the high end of what we consider easy. These are really great sessions to throw in there. They're also nice just to throw in as an everyday session if you just feel good one day. One thing that you really need to focus on here is that you can't exist or live in this steady zone all the time. These steady runs, they can be sneaky. They feel productive. Give you a lot of energy. You finish the run, you're like, wow, my easy run is nice and fast. But they do carry a lot more in terms of the recovery demand from them. So you just need to make sure that you're not doing this every single day, because this can actually take away from the quality of your runs and particularly get you into injury trouble because you're constantly running your easy runs a little too hard every single day. And you're not, in a way, polarizing your hard and easy efforts. And that can be a really hard place to be. I'll give you guys one more example before we move on to the next point here. I had a lot of trouble when I first started running. I looked at these pace calculators and I saw the pace, what my easy run was in comparison to the goals or the times that I were racing at. And I was just hammering my easy runs all the time. And for me, a lot of times those easy days were between 6 minutes a mile or roughly 3:45 a K or somewhere in that realm to around 6:20. And this was every single day. And I was doing hard workouts. I was doing hard long runs. And I was really fit and I get really good shape for about 2 or 3 months, and then things would just plummet because my workouts were getting harder, but I was never actually recovering in between them. And I got myself into a lot of trouble. And that was myself as an 18 to 22-year old. Now, here I'm 32 years old. I'm so much faster than I ever was between 18 and 22. And my easy run paces are now a minute 2 minutes plus, sometimes slower than those easy days when I was younger and much slower. So take my example for you guys and take these three different ways in which you can apply your easy runs, and you can spread them out and add a different emphasis depending on what you're doing, how your training is set up, and where you are within your training block. You also must remember that you yourself are an individual. I mentioned these online pace calculators that give you an idea of roughly where your easy pace should be. And I highly recommend that you absolutely ignore those. Those get people in a lot of trouble. It makes you think that you need to be within this band to be productive. And for some people, there tends to be a realm that this works for, and there tends to be a realm that this does not work for. If I type in my times on the calculator online, it'll say that my easy run should be 6 minute pace per mile. That's so hard. I can maybe do that when I'm feeling my absolute best on an easy day. But if I did that every day, I'm crashing and burning. So you yourself are an individual. What's going to be easy, what's going to be recovery, what's going to be steady, that's going to be different from you compared to the next person. So it's really important that you don't go and compare yourself to other people on what you're doing, especially for your easy days. Maybe you can make an argument on the workouts they're doing, the speed of the workouts they're doing, because those things might be more tangible, but you should never be comparing yourself to the next person when it comes to what they're doing for their easy runs, because it's drastically different. I coach a wide range of people. I've got 230 marathoners who are running 8 to 9 minute pace for their easy runs. I've got 315 marathoners who are running between 9 and 11 minutes. I've got 4 hour marathoners who did a long run last week at 13 minutes a mile. Now, these are the extremes. I have a lot of people who do tend to be more in like what you would consider like the normal realm. But what's important here is that you operate on what works best for you and you run at your own pace. There is no universal easy pace. You can even take some of the pros like John Career, one of the best runners in the world. Go take a look at his Strava and go look at how fast he's running for his easy days. He has some days where he's running 9 minute pace. He has some days where he's running 6 minute pace. Those are both easy depending on what he's doing and what the purpose of his run is. I've had a lot of people and they tell me, oh, there's no way that I could run 7, 8, 9, 10, however many pace per mile or per kilometer. And I tell them, I think you could. I think if you really tried, I think you really could. So just remember, there's no universal pace. There's no right way to necessarily do it. But I just want to make sure that you don't take the path that gets you in trouble, that you don't overemphasize your easy pace, that you don't turn easy days into these pseudo workouts, that you don't overanalyze data like heart rate or power, just overemphasizing things that just don't really matter as much for your easy days. Sure, if you're really someone who's just now getting dialed in and you need to maybe take a more zone-based approach, you need to take maybe a heart rate-based approach, that's absolutely fine. But as you gain more experience, as you get yourself into the rhythm, you'll know the rhythm and the flow of your training and what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself moving forward. Just want to make sure that we touch all those bases and that make sure that we achieve the job of the easy run, which is to support your cardiovascular system, to create this big engine, to create a bigger system so that you can handle more faster running and run faster. But it's also here to support the quality of the running that you're doing as well. Those easy days, they help serve as bridges between the harder sessions so that you can make an emphasis to run your hard days hard and benefit from those. And then you can recover and regenerate through some of those easy days. But easy runs have the job of building total volume of the week. For us to run a lot of miles and kilometers to do and achieve the things that we're doing, we have to do a lot of it. And most of this has to exist in that easy realm. And if it gets too hard, then you're not going to be able to do as much work. And that itself can be detrimental. This also helps promote recovery between sessions. Some people think that you need to take time completely off to recover between sessions. But as you'll notice, as you gain more experience or as you have gained more experience, you find that running sometimes does more for your body to help you recover than no running at all. They say motion is lotion, and the more volume that you can do in a healthy manner, I feel like that supports the entire system in a very complete sense. And then the easy days, they just help you keep you consistent too. It's just a nice touch of stress, very low level stress, higher volume relative to everything else over the lifespan of your training cycle, or just your lifetime in general. Thing I just want to say before I leave you guys is that your easy pace is just not a place where you're here to prove your fitness. It's important that you understand the role of each and every type of easy pace. So you have your everyday easy run. This might just be the days that you sprinkle throughout the week where you're feeling relatively good and you're not impacted by anything. It's just the one that you don't even think about. You just get out the door and you run easy. It's conversational. You run for some friends. You just get that thing done. And maybe in the earlier parts of your training, your long runs might be in this realm as well. You have your recovery runs, and those come after harder sessions or long runs, times where you're a little bit more fatigued, potentially after even a race where you're just kind of shaking it out. And these are also your warm ups and cool downs. So take full advantage of that. And then lastly, we have your steady runs, which work really well for medium long runs or long runs during the week, or just other days where you're just feeling pretty good. And that's not going to have a negative effect on the workouts that you do after that. And it's not going to be irresponsible based on the sessions or the runs that you did before that. So make sure that you understand each of these and that you try and apply these across your training, because I can guarantee you, if that you go into each and every one of your runs with the right intention, you will recover better, you'll stay more consistent, you'll get more out of the training in general. And if you can do that, then you're going to make progress. And progress is the number one thing that we are all trying to do, whether we are trying to chase PR still, or we're just trying to continue training at a high level and to be our best selves at this moment in time. That's all I have for you all today. Thank you all for listening once again. Please subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed this. I'll be making these videos every single week. Please like the video or leave a comment as well. If there's any questions that you have based on this, if there's anything that you feel as though I didn't cover, or if there's any suggestions that you might have for me to talk about in the future, I'm always open to all of that as well. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can reach me via my website up above, and you can send me a message on there and we can have a conversation, even if that is just having a conversation on training itself. I'm here to help you learn how to be a better runner, and I'm here to offer my coaching services as needed. Thanks everyone for listening. Once again, I'll talk to you guys next week.